criticism is pouring in from Tehran to Ankara to war-ravaged Syria ahead of President Donald Trump's anticipated announcement Wednesday that the U.S. will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. U.S. officials have said Trump will instruct the State Department to begin the multi-year process of moving the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. They expect a broad statement from Trump about Jerusalem's status as the capital of Israel. Jerusalem includes the holiest ground in Judaism. But it's also home to Islam's third holiest shrine and major Christian sites, and forms the combustible center of the Israeli-Arab conflict. Any perceived harm to Muslim claims to the city has triggered volatile protests in the past, both in the Holy Land and across the Muslim world. In Gaza, hundreds of Palestinian protesters burned U.S. and Israeli flags. They also waved Palestinian flags and banners proclaiming Jerusalem as our eternal capital and calling it a red line. Hamas, the militant group that controls Gaza and which the United States and the European Union consider a terrorist organization, has called for more protests over the coming days. Hamas official Salah Bardawil said the Palestinians were on a dangerous crossroad today: we either remain or perish. He added that Trump or anyone thinking that our people, nation and resistance are unable to push back his plans is wrong. Hamas Politburo chief, Ismail Haniyeh, told Al Jazeera that our Palestinian people will have a suitable response. As a people, we cannot accept this American pattern. In Beirut, a few hundred Palestinian refugees staged a protest in the narrow streets of the Borj al-Barajneh camp, some of them chanting, "Trump, you are mad. We came here to tell Trump that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Palestine," said Nada Adlaouni, a Palestinian refugee. Two leading Lebanese newspapers issued front-page rebukes to Trump over his expected announcement. An-Nahar compared the U.S. president to the late British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour, who 100 years ago famously promised Palestine, as it was known at the time, as a national home to the Jewish people, in what is known as the Balfour Declaration. The paper's Wednesday headline read, "Trump, Balfour of the Century, gifts Jerusalem to Israel." The Arab League said it will hold an emergency meeting for foreign ministers Saturday, and Turkey announced it would host a meeting of Islamic nations next week to give Muslim leaders an opportunity to act together and coordinate following Trump's move. Palestinian officials, meanwhile, declared the Mideast peace process finished. The Palestinian Prime Minister, Rami Hamdallah, met with European diplomats on Wednesday and told them that the expected U.S. shift on Jerusalem will fuel conflict and increase violence in the entire region. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is to convene advisors after Trump's expected announcement Wednesday to decide on a way forward. Syria's foreign ministry called it a dangerous step that will fuel global conflict. It described the move as the culmination of the crime of the seizing of Palestine and the displacement of the Palestinian people, and urged Arab states to stop normalizing relations with Israel.